Is it true? Are you and my brother really having a child?
Yeah, I just went to the doctor. They said that I'm 2 months pregnant.
You're such an idiot! How could you have let this happen?
Is that the right way to react to hearing that your sister-in-law is having a baby? Like, why would you react like that? Most people have said congratulations.
I don't want to have the word sister associated with our relationship right now. Just thinking about it makes me sick to my stomach.
Have I done something to offend you?
I can't believe that you got pregnant on the year that I turned 30. Have you no shame? This should be my year. Thanks to you, now all I'm going to hear from everybody around me is that I've got to hurry up and have a child of my own. It's going to be such a pain.
I'm sorry to hear that. I wasn't aware you were worried about that kind of thing.
I don't need your apologies. Just don't have the kid.
I'm sorry. What are you asking me to do exactly?
Go back to the hospital again.
And do what? What are you trying to say?
If you're only 2 months pregnant, you've still got time, right?
Really? Are you really going to ask me to do that? There's no way I could do something like that.
If you really felt bad about what you've done to me, then you should be able to do at least that much for me. You're still plenty young, so it shouldn't be an issue for you. At your age, you can still wait until I get married to have a kid, yeah?
Are you out of your mind? There's a new life inside of me right now, though. How could I do that to the poor child? Are you going to say that I should end its life before it even begins just because you're worried your family is going to pressure you about not having a kid yet?
Yes! You should show respect to your older siblings, even if I'm just your in-law. Oh, I completely forgot. You were raised by a single mother, weren't you?
What does that have to do with anything?
That's why you have no sense. You were raised in a broken home.
I wasn't from a broken home.
But your mother did raise you by herself, right?
That is true. But that doesn't mean that I'm from a broken home. There's no way I would describe my situation that way.
Then where is your father now? Do you even know who he is?
Well, it's complicated.
As I thought, you don't even know him, do you? He ran out on your mom the second that he found out she was going to have a child. Isn't that right?
You're wrong. My father died.
On top of abandoning his child and lover, he died? He must have been quite a bad man. Am I wrong?
You don't know anything. You're completely off base. More importantly, don't mock my parents.
What makes you think that you can boss me around, huh? Maybe I should let the staff at my father's company know about this.
Why would you bring up your father's company?
Just try to think about it real hard. I'm sure you'll be able to figure it out. Arthur is going to inherit the family company someday. You knew that, right? It wouldn't look good if it got out that the president's mother-in-law had loose legs. Do you catch my drift?
Are you talking about my mother? She isn't like that. Stop bad-mouthing her. Please just cut this all out already. If you insist on saying such cruel things to me, it's not going to go well for you. I'll bring it up to your parents. I'll tell them all the nasty things you've been saying to me. Just make sure you understand that.
You'll bring it up to my parents? What are you, some sort of tattletale? Do you think that my parents are going to take your side? You've got to be joking. My parents have been hesitant about you getting together with Arthur from the outset. Do you know why? Because you're from a single-family home. They were worried that your mother would be hard up on money. They were worried that she'd try to siphon off some from the family fortune. I mean, to have their son marry somebody raised in such lowly conditions? Isn't it natural to think that you were trying to just use my little brother for everything he was worth?
I've never thought anything of the sort. Did your parents really say that? It doesn't sound like something they would say.
They didn't necessarily put it into words like that, but it was clear from the way they acted. I could tell just by looking at them how they felt. There's no way that my parents would ever take your side on anything. There's also no way that they'd want a grandchild birthed by you. Now that you understand that, you should get right to the hospital and get rid of that fetus before you entrap my family with it.
I will do no such thing.
I give you 1 month to deal with it before I take matters into my own hands. If you don't get that fetus dealt with, well, I'll just run you right out of town. You'll end up a single mother just like your own mother. Alright, time's up. I've just sent out an email informing everyone at my father's company about your background.
I know. I saw it. It was a mix of things that were true and things that were not. Although I'd say it was more fabricated than not. You didn't strain yourself too hard doing any research, did you?
I think it'd be best to say that it was based on a true story.
Katrina, don't you work at a different company, though? How did you get the email addresses of the entire staff?
That was a piece of cake. I just used my dad's computer to get them all.
You just let yourself on your dad's computer to get that sort of private information?
I guess your only option at this point is going to be to get a divorce. Serves you right.
Oh, I see. Well, I guess that settles it. I'm going to have to rescind that job offer.
Huh? Job offer? What job offer?
Weren't you recently offered a permanent position at the place you're working?
Yeah, so? What are you trying to get at? You do know that I'm working in a lab, right? It does business with my family's company. Why would you getting chased out of our family lead to me losing my job offer? Is that what is supposed to pass as a threat from you? Because it doesn't make any sense.
The thing is, the lead scientist at the lab you're working at is my grandfather.
Oh, really? So you're trying to tell me that you're the granddaughter of Christoph Green?
That's right. I guess you didn't realize my maiden name was Green?
Is that true?
Yeah, of course. Anyway, you were only able to get various part-time jobs after you graduated from college, right, Katrina? How did you think you were able to get into a large laboratory all of a sudden?
That's obviously through the connections that my parents had.
Did you think that just because your family's company did business with that laboratory that you'd easily get a job at a lab that big? Do you understand that a lab that large wouldn't fall sway to the desires of one of their clients?
Yeah, but that's because I've got skills and talent as well.
You do know that your resume was covered in typos, right?
Why would you know that?
Because my parents showed it to me. I was the connection that got you the job. Your parents told me that you'd never be able to get anywhere with the resume you gave them. You had prior experience working at their company, but that job would have been with your family's company, so it wouldn't count for much. When looking over your resume, it might just seem like a nepotistic hiring and people would worry about how much actual work you did. So they asked me to help you get in so you could learn about the realities of the working world. As a result of their request, I fixed your typo-ridden resume before it was sent off. I also strongly advocated for you at my grandfather's laboratory.
Aha! I caught you in a lie.
Where have I lied?
You said that you were the granddaughter of the director of the laboratory, right? That's a lie. And the reason I know it has to be a lie is because Dr. Green doesn't have any children. In other words, the current head of the laboratory has no blood relatives. Owned with facts and logic. Do a little research before you try and come at me with such bold-faced lies.
Didn't I tell you about that before? My father has already passed. He's in a better place now. There was a very unfortunate accident right after my parents got married.
Right after they were married? So that means your mom was already pregnant?
Yes, that would appear to be the case. Anyway, the fact is that the lab director did have one son. My father. Therefore, the laboratory director is my grandfather.
So your mother forced a shotgun wedding because she got knocked up with you?
No, not at all. Not that it matters or is any business of yours whatsoever, but they were already engaged to be married when I was conceived. But it was a long engagement, and it looked like I would probably be born before the actual wedding. That's when my father decided to file the marriage documents early just to make things at the hospital smoother in case there were any complications. It was actually when he was returning home from that very trip that he died. He was hit by a drunk driver who ignored a red light, and my father never got to return home. Well, that might seem like a rushed wedding, but I don't know if I'd characterize the situation the way that you have been. My parents are nothing like how you've imagined them, Katrina. It's nothing like the biased narrative you've told yourself. If you still doubt what I've told you, shall I contact my grandfather, the director of the laboratory, to confirm it for you?
That can't be true. You're really a blood relative to the laboratory director?
Yes, but that's not all. My mother is the head of the accounting department for that laboratory. After she lost my father, my grandfather offered to support her financially, but she was never the type to take handouts. She was only interested in taking the minimum support that would prove absolutely necessary. She was determined to act as a positive role model for me. In order to do so, she studied hard and acquired her accounting certification. She worked so hard to be a good role model. I will not forgive you for mocking my mother, especially after all the hard work she put in.
Let's step back for a second. What do you intend on doing now?
I wasn't really planning on doing anything as long as you didn't do anything, Katrina. But given your steadfast pursuit of your idiotic goal of shaming me into getting an abortion just because you don't want to look bad, you've kind of forced my hand. You crossed the line when you brought other people into this. I didn't want to do something like this, but at this point, I see no other option. My patience for dealing with your nonsense has reached its limit. A little while ago, I forwarded all of our messages to both my grandfather and my mother.
You're kidding me! You sent this chat log to your mother and grandfather? To the laboratory director? From what part?
The whole thing. Even the part where you treated me like somebody that was lacking common sense. And the fact that you told me to abort my unborn child. And the fact that you've been mocking my mother and father. And the fact that you've unveiled my so-called dirty secrets to all the staff working at your family's company. I've sent them every last piece of information.
If you've shown them all of that, won't I end up getting fired?
Both my mother and grandfather are fuming with rage, so I'd expect as much.
You awful woman! How could you do this to me? Fine, I don't care. I'll just go back to my family's company. I'll be the one to inherit the company presidency now. You might as well just start packing your bags because you're out of there as soon as I've become company president.
You really know nothing of how the world works, do you, Katrina? It's kind of sad how much you belittle other people considering your actual position.
What are you trying to say?
Just try to think about it for a bit. I'm sure you'll be able to figure it out eventually. Which do you think is the buyer in the relationship between your family's company and my grandfather's laboratory? The group that will be in trouble if trade ends up being cut off is your family's company, not my grandfather's laboratory.
That can't be!
Moreover, I think the thing that will really give your parents pause is that I've already talked to them about my intentions to someday manage my grandfather's laboratory. That will lead to 3 generations of damaged business relations. Do you think your parents are going to value your selfishness over the well-being of their own company?
Really? Why would you do that? Because you're the director's granddaughter?
Well, I can't deny that is probably a factor. But I actually work in the development portion of my grandfather's laboratory. And I do quite well, I might add. I like to think I would be able to take over even if we weren't related.
That has to be a lie. I've never seen you there.
That's because I've been working at home ever since I married your brother. I also never go to the office anymore these days. But even now, I'm still working on the payroll, although I'll be taking some time off to have the baby, of course.
If what you say is true, and you are a member of the development department, wouldn't that make you part of the highest levels of staff?
Yes. I went to university to study to get a position that would set me up to take after my grandfather once he had retired. After I've given birth and my child is old enough for daycare, I will return to my grandfather's laboratory's development department. When I communicated that to your parents, they felt a little reticent. That was the coldness I think you observed. I mean, the fact that I was the granddaughter of the head of such a famous laboratory. Well, it must have given them quite the shock. Well, it's not that I don't understand how they feel. I am the granddaughter of one of their biggest buyers. I told them to not worry about that, and that I just wanted them to treat me like anybody else. But it seems that it has caused quite the big misunderstanding for you, huh, Katrina?
Why did my parents keep something that important from me?
I was concerned about what you'd do with that information. If you knew that I was the granddaughter of such a world-famous laboratory, there is no telling what sort of requests you would have come up with. That's why I requested that they keep this information from you.
If I would have known, I would have been able to act more appropriately, though.
Yes, exactly. If you had known, you would have treated me differently, and I never would have been able to find out exactly what kind of person you are.
But I understand now. Isn't that right, Julia?
What is with this sudden change in tone? It's weird.
I'm really sorry for everything I've said and done up until now, okay? It looks like I was really mistaken about a whole lot of different things. Let's try to get along well from now on as sisters. We're in-laws, after all. This is a little fast, but do you think you could get me transferred to the development department at your grandfather's lab? I want to be on the same team as you. That way we can start growing closer as sisters. Moreover, maybe your grandfather's laboratory should invest in my family's company. I hope both of our organizations can grow in scale. It would be a win-win for everybody. We'd all be so happy.
Huh? Do you think I have the memory of a goldfish? Did you really think you could just try a sudden about-face and then actually try to ask me to put in a good word for you? Or have you become a brand new life form in an attempt to wipe away the inconvenient situation you've built for yourself? You have mercilessly torn myself and my relatives to shreds over your misconceptions. And do you think you can be forgiven with a simple apology? More than that, you think you can profit from your newfound knowledge? I can't believe you can say such heavy-handed nonsense. You won't fool anybody with that shoddy wool, you wolf.
Yeah, exactly. Just like I told you. That was just a mistake on my part. I didn't know any better.
My mother and grandfather couldn't be more angry.
Won't you smooth that over for me, sis? I believe that you can do it, Julia. You are amazing, after all. You can do it if you try.
I will not even try. Moreover, the only people you need to be trying to smooth things over with are your own parents. You understand that, right?
Huh? What do you mean by that? Why would I need to smooth things over with my parents?
Your father and mother just read your bomb-dropping email just a little while ago. I heard them screaming about disowning you for sending such a thing, using information you shouldn't have had access to. They screamed so loud it would put Metallica to shame.
They're going to disown me? Why would they do that? I'm their darling daughter. They love me.
Let me give you some choice quotes. Is that something an adult would do? She's already 30. I thought we had done everything we could to teach her manners, but she's never learned a thing. We even asked Julia to help her get that job. Where does she get off treating her savior like this? We won't forgive her. She can go try to live on her own from now on. Something like that.
No, this can't be.
I don't think there's much hope of you getting rehired at your family's company.
Don't speak of this as though you have nothing to do with it.
If you've been disowned by your parents, I guess there's no point in considering any familiar relationship between us. You'll be a complete stranger, won't you?
Look, I'm begging you. Help me. I actually am sorry. I'll do anything, even the most menial of tasks. I'm begging, so can't you find a way for me to stay working at your grandfather's laboratory? I don't have any savings, and I won't be able to survive if my parents actually chase me out of the house.
Didn't you just refer to yourself as their darling daughter? Why don't you go try to calm your parents down yourself? I believe you can do it, sister. However, Katrina's efforts were wasted, and her parents did indeed chase her out of her family's home. She had neither job nor house. After this whole thing went down, my mother told me a bit about Katrina's performance during her short time at the lab. Katrina had apparently not only been unable to do any of the work that was assigned to her, but she was also always showing up to work late or not at all. Even if I hadn't forwarded anything that she had said to me, she would probably have only lasted maybe a couple more months before getting fired for incompetence, whether she was my sister-in-law or not. I heard that she's been bouncing around between different friends' houses while doing odd jobs here and there to scrounge up money. I guess she must have finally learned the realities of the working world and what life in society is really like. As far as the email that she sent goes out, my father-in-law spoke to all of the staff to clear that situation up. So, in the end, nothing really came of it. Well, everybody learned how stupid Katrina was, so I guess something did come out of it. Sending an email with such personal contents to everybody was certainly a foolish thing. More than anyone else involved, it merely reflected the lack of professionalism of the person who sent it. After several months, I safely gave birth to a baby boy. We lived happily ever after, surrounded by my mother, my grandfather, and my in-laws, Katrina excluded.
Anna, I'm sorry, I can't pick her up today.
I thought you were going home early today.
No, I'm sorry, but it's my job, right? That's what I'm talking about. Bye.
That's not always the case, James. I'm working a full-time job too, and I don't want to be told out of the blue. I haven't finished work yet.
I told you, it's my job too. I can't help it. Stop mumbling, it's too much work. Well, look, I'll give you extended care, then you can pick her up, right?
Okay, so what time is James coming home today?
Well, I don't know about you, but I'd like to get this done before the last train. Well, I have to work tomorrow, and I'll be home before I get too hungover.
Oh, wait, you can't pick up Eve because you're going out for a drink? Not for work?
No, it's not work. Drinking is part of the job. You work for a living, but you don't understand. This is why women are so carefree.
I guess it can't be helped if you're entertaining, and I'm not saying it's wrong to go out drinking. I wonder why I don't understand. Besides, I have a full-time job because you said you'd help me with childcare.
What? What are you saying? It's my fault? Who was providing for you while you were pregnant? Women work too, you know? The time when only men make money and women have it easy is over. Even my colleague Smith's wife works hard, you know? You're too spoiled with little to no overtime. How can you blame me for that?
But Mr. Smith, the kids are big enough now, right? Eve is only 3 years old, remember? I have to watch over her and she needs a lot of help. It's hard enough being alone. You just have to have a little patience.
Oh, it's so loud. Don't tell me what to do, big man. Kids will be kids. Don't be a wimp because the smaller sizes make it easier to handle. Well, I'll leave Eve to you. Bye.
How's Eve feeling? Has her fever gone down? Are you okay? Is it getting worse?
Oh, it's okay. I'm already sound asleep.
Well, thank God. You took her to the hospital, didn't you? What did the doctor say?
They say it's just a cold. It got cold all of a sudden. That's probably why. Just sleep quietly and you'll get better. You're overreacting.
Because she had a really high fever. And I had to go to work, so I didn't have time, and I was worried about her.
Don't take on work on your days off, you know? What kind of woman with a kid would normally go there? What the hell are you thinking? I just lost a day of my holiday weekend. You have a child and from now on refuse to work on holidays. It's so bad that it falls on a holiday weekend.
I'm sorry, but you said a week ago that you could take care of Eve on this day. I'm a full-time employee. I can't just not go. It happens every few months or so, so help us out.
They didn't say no, did they? Just ask them. It's free. So, when are you coming home?
I think it'll be around 6 p.m.
Oh, 6 p.m. Come home as soon as you can.
Yeah, I know. Well, take care of Eve. Eve, when she has a cold, she likes it when I grate an apple for her. I'm sure that even if she doesn't have an appetite, she can eat if it's theirs.
Yes, okay, just do it. Don't tell me what to do because it pisses me off.
James, where are you? Hey, James, what are you doing? What's going on? I thought you were looking after Eve. James! James, we need to talk. That's enough.
Shut up. You're persistent. What the hell?
What the hell is that?
What?
2 days ago, when I arrived home, Eve was alone and limp. Where have you been, leaving your sick child alone? And there's no hospital meds anywhere. You didn't take her to the hospital, did you?
I was going to take her with me, but I couldn't because I had something to do. I gave her the cold medicine we had in the house, so why not?
Huh? What's there to do? There were signs of drinking, but drinking is what you do. And why aren't you here? I asked you to take care of her, didn't I? I took her to the hospital as soon as I got home and they said she had the flu. What were you going to do if I came home late? How can you leave one little kid like this behind?
Shut up! We're on a holiday weekend. My friend invited me to go fishing, so what could I do? They said they would send a boat for us, so why not? I want to enjoy my vacation too. I know you'd be back, so I'll give you a little something. I'm losing my day off because you're working on your day off.
Would you choose fishing over a sick daughter? Vacation is vacation. She's sick.
You know how I love to fish. It's what keeps me alive. How will I live if they take away my purpose in life?
Is fishing so important that you leave Eve alone?
Hey, how do I live?
What time did you leave home? Since when did you leave Eve alone?
Maybe 10? Maybe?
Did you leave it alone that long? What were you going to do if something happened to her?
Oh, no more peevishness. She was sleeping peacefully, so I figured she'd be fine. In fact, nothing happened, so why not? You're overreacting at every turn.
Did she sleep peacefully? She was just too tired to move, that's all. Can't you see that?
You are persistent. Seriously, it's too much for you. I'm having a great time, and now I feel bad.
James has changed since we got married, hasn't he? And before Eve was born, you said I'd help out. But in reality, I'm left to do all the childcare and housework. I thought you'd be cute about Eve, but all you do is talk about yourself. That's enough. I'm divorcing James.
Huh? Are you saying it's all my fault? You used to listen to me and be so sweet before we got married. All you've been doing lately is complaining. I've been duped. Oh, I'll tell you one thing. It's your feeble-minded fault I'm like this.
Is it my fault?
That's right. You said you like it when I'm strong-willed and do what I want to do.
I said...
So I'm just doing what I want to do. What does that mean? It's your fault, right? I mean, you can't blame me for being wrong. Do you understand? You're the bad guy. Go ahead, tell me it's my fault for letting Master take care of you. And when I get home, rub your head on the floor and apologize.
What the fuck?
Huh?
Huh? I'm not, am I? I'm asking you if you think I'm a loser. If I'm not good enough, you're not good enough. You lick women too much, you know? I work for you because you don't make enough money, right? What position are you in when you say you provided for me when I was pregnant? Of course not. Whose kid do you think you are? How can you say that when you were raising your own children?
Anna, what's up?
Don't call me names so casually. I'm asking you if you're a lip spittle.
I'm not licking you. Don't use such fool language. It's vulgar.
Which is vulgar? Yeah, you don't like these kind of people, do you? You know how low-life, bottom-feeding, low-life idiots like to look down on you when you're scared of them? You should realize that you are much more vulgar than them.
No. What are you trying to force yourself to be tough?
Huh? I'm pushing it? At my age, of course I can take care of myself, right? But I made the mistake of caring about you. You don't take care of us, and now you're getting all bent out of shape.
I don't know if I'm in a good mood.
Oh, then you were rotten from the start, weren't you? That's you, right? You like quiet women because you think you can do whatever you want, right? If it's a tough person, she will talk back to you, and that's scary.
No, not really.
Is that so? You've lost a lot of energy compared to before. Are you okay? What did I say earlier?
No, it's...
Was it all my fault that this happened? Because I'm weak and quiet? Can I do whatever I want? So, you didn't do anything wrong, right?
Hey, I think you're taking that too badly. I didn't mean it like that.
Then what did you mean it by? That's what you said.
No.
Stop making stupid excuses. You're saying that it's all my fault, right?
No, it's not that. It's just that I've been taking advantage of Anna. It's my fault.
Then it's all your fault. Get the hell out of here. We'll discuss our divorce. Don't run away.
Anna, where are you? Help me. I have a terrible headache and I'm cold. I can't move. Can you take me to the hospital? Anna, hey, what's going on? Eve's not here either. Where are you going?
You came home today? You're getting a divorce and you're so carefree. I told you to come home ASAP.
It's not even close. Maybe I'm going down with the flu. I thought it might have been Eve's.
Huh? How could you catch it when you didn't even take care of her and left her alone? I mean, I told you I'm getting a divorce. When you get better, we'll discuss property division and child support. I don't want to get depressed. Call me back when you're better.
What? Are you serious about the divorce? You just got mad about Eve, didn't you?
Of course I'm serious. I've already taken Eve home to my parents. I'll pack up the rest of your stuff and take it with me after we discuss the divorce.
Anna, wait a minute. Please help me, I'm really sick. You always made me porridge when I caught a cold, didn't you? I just remembered how much I liked that kindness of yours.
Enough of that kind of reminiscing. You have the energy to call, so call yourself a cab and go. When you were weak, you were spoiled, not stupid. You left Eve alone to play when she was suffering.
I'm sorry, and I apologize. Please forgive me.
I don't need you to apologize to me. Of course you know what you did to Eve, right? Don't you think you can get custody?
Anna, please, I won't go to the hospital until you come. I'll wait for you. I'll believe in you.
Oh, well I guess I'll never go to the hospital then. Why don't you just wait for the rest of your life? Then maybe you'll understand a little how Eve felt when she was left alone because of her illness.
Don't say that. I'm really weak.
I don't know. Eve suffered more because of your selfishness. Don't be so naive if you can't even take responsibility for your own actions.
So, I'm sorry about that.
You're so picky. I won't forgive you no matter how much you apologize. Too convenient to have them take care of you when it's your time. Well, you like a woman you can use in that situation. You'll get better if you sleep, right? Go back to sleep. You're always exaggerating. Then James, who really didn't wait for me to go to the hospital, got the flu worse. The next day, he finally asked a friend to take him to the hospital. According to what I heard, James was crying so hard he begged me to help him. I would never have taken my husband to the hospital after he neglected our daughter. Did he think I would take care of him worthily? There's no way I can get help, but he's a man with a flowery mind to the end of the line. Leaving my suffering 3-year-old daughter to go out and play is unthinkable. In the worst case, it could even kill her. I just happened to get lucky this time, I believe. I still shudder just to think what would have happened if I had left a little later. Then, as James was feeling better, we discussed a divorce with him, including our attorneys. James cried and asked me to rebuild it, but I said no once and for all. In fact, as soon as I told him I was going to go public with what he did to Eve, he signed the divorce papers. He married me because he thought I was still quiet and easy to handle. He thought it would be easier to say a few harsh words and be heard and do whatever he wanted. Then one day, a few years after our divorce, I happened to run into James again on the street. When he saw me and Eve walking in a friendly manner, he spoke to me in a familiar manner. Eve asked him, "Uncle, who are you? I'm scared," and she ran away. I've remarried and my new husband takes good care of both of us. I tell James, Eve and I both live our lives without James. I'm waiting for you all alone, you traitor, and try to grab me. As soon as my husband, a little strong man with Eve in his arms, came in there, he ran away as if frightened, at a ridiculous speed. You have to wait alone for the rest of your life. I want to scream, but I suppressed my feelings and the 3 of us went shopping in good humor.